Hello, it's Phillip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London. And it's my privilege to be able to introduce a rather different book from the ones we normally review. This is a book for all ages, and it's actually a book called Equal to Everything. This book here, which we'll have a look at in a minute. Judge Brenda and the Supreme Court. It's been written by two people, Afua Hirsch and Henny Beaumont. Now, this has come to us from the Legal Action Group. It's been a very popular book, and I'll explain why in a minute. Legal Action Group, of course, is the Access to Justice charity, and this book is coming to us. It's been quite popular. It's now in a reprint already, because, as I say, it's caught the imagination rather like the teddy bears did in the Supreme Court. More of that in a minute. I had a good look at the book and decided to review it myself. And if anyone has any comments, there's an email address, judgebrenda@lag.org.uk, if they want to put any points forward to Lady Hale about the work. Now, I gave it a title, A Charming and Aspiring Tale for Future Generations, because that's what I thought it was when I read it. It's not a big book at all. But it's a nice one, and I hope to see it in a lot of libraries. There it is. It's a hardback. It's only a small one. There's a little bit of information on the spine. Then there's a bit on the back. And you can see Brenda at the front there. Now I'm going to open the book up and show you the book. We'll start at the back, because the back has all of the more important blurb, which you can see there. And there is now a dedication right at the top. Now I'll just move it back and you can see the dedication. I only review books that I think are important. Elizabeth and I don't review books which we don't like, because there's no point. I don't want to be rude to people. I love this book. I thought it was wonderful. That's particularly nice, that front cover. And then you can see the structure. There's Richmond in Yorkshire. I, of course, am in Richmond upon Thames in Surrey, so it's slightly different. But you can see Richmond. Beautiful part of the world. Lived in Harrogate myself, so I know it well. And there we go. There's the story of them coming. I'm not going to spoil it to show everything, because you should get the book. But what I will do is I'll show you right at the end a little bit of explaining about what Lady Hale does, and explains who the various people are who are actually looking at the book. And this is, of course, equal. It's called Equal to Everything, so it's important. Now, the basis of the book is actually straightforward, and then there's some much more important stuff at the back. And this is rather nice, because this is all about Lady Hale, Brenda. And I particularly liked that when she became a High Court judge some years ago now. And there she is, a lovely picture of her there. And there she is when she was sitting as president of the Supreme Court with the other justices. Now, I mention all of that because Lady Hale came to the bar conference in November and was a great hit. It's lovely to see her, because it's right at the end of her time as president. What do I say about the book? Because I've got the teddy bears there, they're watching me, keeping an eye on what I say. What I said, though, is a charming and aspiring tale. Perhaps inspiring might be more of a word, perhaps. But I say aspiring because they are aspiring to something new, but it's also got inspiration in it. It's an unusual departure, then, from the normal publications which the Legal Action Group are renowned for producing. And this is called, of course, Equal to Everything, with the subtitle Judge Brenda in the Supreme Court. It's a most welcome new work, in my view, which will appeal, as I say, to all ages. It's obviously aimed at certain groups, but I did think it, and I'll explain why, I think it has more than just a specific appeal. Because Judge Brenda, or Lady Hale, as she's more formally known, recounts through the authors Afua Hirsch and Henny Beaumont what I say is a positive and highly personal vignette of her journey from Yorkshire to the highest judicial appointment in the land, that of President of the United Kingdom Supreme Court, which of course is based in London at Westminster Square. The simple storyline concerns Amma and her friends from Richmond in Yorkshire, who on a school trip visit the Supreme Court in London. It's the old Crown Court as I knew it when I was practising in the early days at the bar, doing the old criminal work. It's now of course been completely modernised. It's a splendid building, it's got television and all sorts of wonderful things, marvellous library, you can have guided tours. And it does actually, it's very, very important because it's public legal education we're talking about here, in my view. And of course, the importance of the tale is that they discover, the people who are visiting, how another little girl, that's Judge Brenda, from their own town went on to become its president. And I think that's a wonderful, very short story. But as I say, it's aspiring and it's inspirational. Now, in fundamental storytelling, the children learn about interesting cases, how judges decide what is fair and equal, and why it's important to have laws to protect everyone. Therefore, we feel it's a story which covers all ages, including those whose first language may not be English. And I think it's genuinely inspiring. Now, Emma's story is beautifully illustrated, of course, as well. And it's, as I've said, the inspiring story of a little girl who worked hard at school and went on to be extraordinary, because the tale aims to empower children to believe they can achieve their dreams and never letting other people tell them they are not good enough. Something many of us have fought against ourselves many years ago, especially at the bar. You can't do that. No way, you can't, not possible. That's what I've always liked about all the students, the thousands of students I've had over the years, who I've taught, people I've met at the bar, many hundreds of people I've met at the bar, many of whom, like myself, have had a tremendous fight, effectively, to get and strive to get where we want. So therefore, don't believe it if they say, no, it's not possible. You never make it. Untrue. That's for the people who are reading a book and listening to what I have to say as well. Now, from the school trip, we learn about Brenda Hale's life. From school to university, one to becoming the most important judge in the land. And it's special thanks, I think, that must be given to Lady Hale for undertaking to support what LAG have published, because it's been a surprisingly successful title for them in the end of 2019. In fact, this has already been into a reprint, and it goes well for the teddy bears too, which the UK Supreme Court found so popular when they first appeared. Here they are, here. There's one for the Supreme Court, which you can see there, and then there's one for the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council. That's the green. But I'm very pleased with these teddy bears, and I shall put them here, just behind Brenda. There we go. They're lovely little teddy bears. Let me conclude by saying this then, because this is a book, partly for children, but for adults as well. And as I say, the Legal Action Group, and this is a thanks, they want to thank the Sigrid Rousing Trust and, quote, our friends and supporters, unquote, for funding the publication. They continue by saying that we are incredibly grateful to Brenda Hale for her support and encouragement and for giving her time so willingly during the production of the book. And they also thank Roxy Lang, who came up with the idea for the book. And as I've indicated in the review, the actual art, the book design is by Sarah Finan. The hardback edition of this book was originally published by LAG on the 10th of October 2019, and as I say, it's gone through a reprint already, so it's been very popular and has caught people's imagination. Possibly, I think, partly because I think the artwork is really very good. It's modern, yes, but it's good, and I think for younger people, I think, and also for generally for people, I think it will be a very interesting book to look at. Let me just give you an idea. This just shows you there's very simple stuff in the main part of the book, which gets very quickly to a younger audience. But you then have at the back some quite useful information for people who are older and more curious. And as I've said, I think the book has a dual purpose. Whilst it is very useful for younger people as part of the public legal education work that we do, that I'm involved in certainly, and other people, especially with the new Parliament, it's also useful, I think, for people who are coming to this subject not with English not as a first language. So I'd like to thank everybody who's been involved in this book. It was one I wanted to review because I feel passionately that we must get across how we do our business to the public, and I think this is one of the best ways of doing it. So thank you to all, especially LAG for taking it on through the trust, and of course to Brenda for being basically the star. Thank you. Bye-bye.